Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping straight into the nitty-gritty of on-page SEO. We're going to walk through everything you need to do directly on your website, the content, the code, the whole shebang, to make sure search engines know exactly what your pages are all about. So if you're ready to get noticed, let's dive into the ultimate checklist. So, does it ever feel like you've poured your heart and soul into building an amazing website, but it's just invisible? Like it's floating out there in the digital universe where nobody can find it? Trust me, it's a super common feeling, and the fix, more often than not, comes down to how well you're optimizing your actual pages. And that, right there, is what on-page SEO is all about. Okay, so let's get this straight. On-page SEO is the bedrock of your search strategy. This isn't about sneaky tricks or trying to game the system. It's about being crystal clear. You're basically tidying up your content and your site's code so that search engines like Google can effortlessly understand what you're offering and, this is the important part, show it to the right people. Now, let's kick things off with the first and honestly the pillar that gets overlooked the most, the actual quality of your content. Look, Google's #1 job is to give its users helpful, valuable stuff. So before you even think about keywords or tags, you have to ask yourself, is my content genuinely good? So what does good even mean in this context? Well, we can break it down into 3 simple checks. First up, depth. Is your content meaty? You should really be aiming for at least 500 to 1,000 words. And for really competitive topics, you'll see that longer, more comprehensive articles tend to win because they just scream expertise to Google. Second, is it original? And third, is it authentic? In this age of AI, making sure your content has that real human touch is absolutely crucial. Let's talk about originality for a second. Let's be real, with so much information out there, creating something that's 100% unique is, well, it's almost impossible. But here's the good news. You don't have to be perfect. A really solid benchmark is to have more than 50% of your content be completely original. Honestly, if you can push that to 60% or higher, you're in amazing shape. It's all about adding your own genuine value, not just repeating what everyone else has already said. All right, so once you're confident in your content quality, it's time to tackle keywords. We're talking about something called keyword density, which is really just a fancy term for how often is my main keyword showing up on this page. And believe me, if you get this wrong, you can actually do more harm than good to your rankings. And this right here perfectly shows the two extremes. Over on one side, you've got keyword stuffing. This is when a keyword is jammed in so many times that the text sounds like a robot and is just plain annoying to read. But on the other side, you have natural language. This is where keywords just fit in smoothly. The writing focuses on the topic, and it's actually helpful and easy for a real person to read. That's the goal. So how can you tell if you've crossed the line? Here's a super simple, foolproof test. No fancy tools needed. Just read your content out loud. Seriously, if you find yourself tripping over a keyword, or if it just sounds clunky and forced, your density is too high. It really is that easy. If it sounds weird to say, it's going to be weird to read. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, instead of just repeating your main keyword over and over, you should be using what are called LSI keywords. Don't let the name scare you. It's just a technical way of saying related terms and synonyms. So instead of saying on-page SEO 10 times, you might mix in SEO training or search engine optimization techniques. And here's a little pro tip for you. Writing longer, more detailed content pretty much solves this problem for you because you have so much more room to work in all these related terms naturally. All right, let's move on to the signals you send to Google before anyone even visits your page. I'm talking about your meta tags, your title, and your description. Think of this as your digital billboard on the search results page. It's your first impression, and you have to make it count. And yep, there are some pretty specific rules here. You'll notice we're not measuring in characters anymore. We're using pixels. Why? Well, think about it. A big capital W takes up way more space than a tiny lowercase I, so pixels are just more accurate. For your meta title, you want to aim for around 580 pixels. Its job? Grab attention and, of course, include your main keyword. Then, your meta description gets a bit more space, somewhere between 850 and 920 pixels. Its job is to give a quick summary and convince that person to click. If you go over these limits, your awesome message gets cut off with that dreaded ... and nobody wants that. Next up is something so simple, yet it's shocking how often it gets missed: the URL itself. Just think of your URL as the permanent street address for your page. It's a huge signal for both users and search engines, and it absolutely needs to be clean, clear, and to the point. Take a look at this. This is a classic before example. It's long, it's got a bunch of clutter words like get, a, for, and in. We call those stop words. I mean, you can read it, sure, but it's not doing you any favors. It's just not as clean or as powerful as it could be. And there it is, the after. See how much better that is? It's short, it's precise, and it tells you exactly what the page is about. It's got the keyword and nothing else. This is something a person can understand in a split second, and so can a search engine crawler. Perfect. So, how do you get from that messy before to this beautiful after? The rules are actually super simple. 1. Make sure your primary keyword is right there in the URL. 2. Keep it as short and to the point as possible. 3. Get rid of all those little filler words like in, for, and a. And finally, number 4, always use hyphens to separate your words. Not underscores, not spaces, hyphens. So we've walked through content quality, keyword density, meta tags, and your URL structure. That right there is an incredibly solid foundation for your on-page SEO. So as you look back at this checklist, I'm going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Based on everything we just covered, what's the very first thing you're going to go and fix on your own website?